and I am glad to be here.
Hey, hey, how y'all doing? My name is Justice, and I'm an addict. Hey, so this is now the second time Luke has gotten out of speaking, so shout out to Luke. I'll start with my sobriety date is February 22nd, 2019. For those doing the math, that's a little over 5 years. Oh gosh. So I love this program, especially CA. So I've worked other 12-step programs in the past, and then I think it was like my third CA meeting. I was like, I feel like I belong. Like, I'm a fucking junkie, y'all. Like, I don't have to cover up what I say and be so careful with it. I felt at home, and that is, it was an amazing feeling to finally realize that. Am I speaking into this good? Okay. I feel like, yeah. Anyways. So when I came into this world, my mom was incarcerated, and she had me while being incarcerated, and she gave me my name because she said I was the only justice she got out of the deal. Ha ha. Yeah, and she went on to name my sister Josie after Josie Wells the outlaw, so she'd have a justice and an outlaw. So our names were just the happiness of her life. Anyways, so I grew up with 5 siblings, and there was some year gaps between the older ones. But I grew up in a very toxic, alcoholic home. I've worked through this, and I've forgiven my mom and, my stepdad. But one of my very first memories ever was my stepdad choking my mom up whenever he was violently drunk. And I was trying to get all the kids out the house, and yeah, it was very tragic, but that's one of my very first memories. So I guess you could say I didn't have a chance, really, but whatever. I'm here, I'm sober now. It's a lot of people here. So on my 3rd birthday, my dad was in a really bad car accident, and he was hit by a semi in a head-on collision. He had to learn how to read, talk, walk, all that all over again. And it left him with epilepsy, and he had a really bad speech impediment, so even whenever I did talk to him as a kid, I couldn't understand him. So that put a big strain in our relationship, and honestly, he just wasn't cut out to be a dad, and that is what it is. So, I thought it was normal for parents to fight and all this stuff to happen. I remember the first time I stayed the night at a friend's house, everybody was just happy. I was like, what the fuck is this? Nobody's beating each other up. Yeah, it was just very tragic. I grew up dirt poor too. All the money, I remember I was in middle school, and we had to walk to the liquor store with my stepdad because he couldn't leave us at the house. I mean, at least he had that on his head. But, just scraping up change so he could have his beer. Yeah, but God rest his soul. He died of this disease, but it is what it is. So, also, another thing, I remember I was going to homecoming, and all my little friends rode with me, and they're like, your stepdad's drinking and driving. I was like, yeah, so, what? Yeah, that's not normal. So my mom and him eventually split up in the middle of the night. She pulled a gun out on him. It was kind of crazy, and we moved to Tennessee. So we moved a lot growing up, so, I never really had one home. It was always Lafayette or Indianapolis. So, yeah, I grew up in the white ghetto. And yada, yada. So it was a lot of moving, constantly moving, the hecticness of all of that. You'd make friends, and you got to leave, make friends, got to leave. So when we came down here, whenever my grandmother was dying, and, she taught me a lot before she died, and I'm very thankful for that woman. But in Lafayette, Tennessee, it's very, very, very small town, and there's not much to do except for raise hell and praise Dale, you know what I'm saying? But so I remember the first drink I took, as an adult, teenage, adolescence. But it was just like Bill Wilson said, I have arrived. Like all the insecurity, all the stuff I had struggled with, it was gone. And I liked that. I liked that a lot. And I continued to go on. And alcohol, it was my first true love, and I didn't see an issue with it for a long time. But I do remember there was a Tuesday, and I was with my stepsister at her house. And I was like, let's get drunk. And she's like, it's a Tuesday. I was like, and? Like, what? And I remember I was just like, that loneliness kicked on, so I had to drink twice as fast. And so that happened. And then I met a boy. You know, it was a very toxic relationship. Like I had been taught, you know, growing up, like this is normal. It's normal to get hit. It's normal to fight back. It's all this stuff is normal. And whatever. I found out he was cheating. Yeah. And I was really heartbroken. And I had this friend who was older than me. And like I knew he sold drugs, but like I never judged. But it was like 2 a.m. I just took a Xanax because I'm like heartbroken. I just want to sleep it all away. And he climbs through my window. He's like, let's fucking go. And I was like, what, bro? Like I'm bawling my eyes out eating ice cream. And they got me up and they made me get ready. They're like, you can't leave nowhere looking like this. And I went out that night, and that was the first night I tried methamphetamines. And I loved it. Yeah. I like to say my mom named me Just Ice and then was mad I was an addict. Like, what? It's on you. You know, and it got crazy really quick, but it numbed everything in me. It was that thing I'd been searching for my whole life that I thought, you know, I thought I found it in alcohol, but that was it. And within 3 months of doing it, I went to jail. Yeah. And I got back out. I was getting high in the parking lot. And it was a lot of in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of treatment, in and out of treatment. And I never went for me. I never went to treatment one time for me. It was always to get the boyfriend back or get my mom off my ass. I didn't see an issue because I was paying rent at my mom's house, like paying rent. But she doesn't like me getting high in her house, whatever. Yeah, so I remember the first time I ever felt complete powerlessness. I was in some bad shit, okay? I got pulled over. I got a lot of charges, whatever. But I remember laying in that jail cell because I already went to rehab one time, and I was like, I don't relate to these people. These people are junkies. They're failures in life. Like, and then I remember laying on that cell because they moved me to the back pretty quickly. But I was like waking up because I hadn't slept in months, and I was like, I am completely powerless over this. Like, you know, completely powerless. This is where I continue ending up, you know. And anyways, I was getting high in the parking lot when I got out that time too. And then caught more charges. Shockingly, my bond never got revoked, which, I don't know, I must have gave a mean blowy. If you know, you know. Anyways, I just kept catching charges, and it just did not make me want to change whatsoever. Like, I really was comfortable. Why is it? Y'all hear that? Aliens. Okay, we got time. So in and out, and then I got some state paper, and by the way, never take a 2. It turned into a 5. Big lesson. But I took that 2, and it was I already got it revoked, and I did a 210 kick out, and within a month I was high. My PO, he's like, are you going to piss clean today? I was like, no. And he was like, what the fuck am I going to do with you? And I was like, I'll go to sober living. Like, I've already done that once, let's do it. And I had a really good friend who I made really good friends with in jail, and she went on drug court, and we all thought it was a setup, and she was actually living a beautiful life. So I messaged her, and I was like, where you at? And she told me how good she was, and she's like, come on. And somehow it all worked. You know, God was a big factor back then, not realizing it, but he was. He was real big in that. And I told my PO, and, you know, I got it transferred. and I got the freaking most mean PO ever, but he's actually kind of nice, but he was really strict and just dry, and you couldn't cut up with him. But that's him. Anyway, so I come here, and within 3 months, I'm drinking again. I was like, I don't got a needle in my arms, What the hell's a drink? Led me right back to the trap house every single time. And I continued to get drunk. And then, I started over. And then whenever they say the worst thing in the world to have is, a head full of a 12-step program and a belly full of dope or alcohol, they mean it. God, it's terrible. Because, I keep doing more and more trying to get that guilt gone, and I can't. Like, it's just there. And the one thing that I thought I fell in love with is actually haunting me, so. Anyways, it took me 4 years to get 1 year sober. That's just the truth. I was a chronic relapser, and thank God for this last time it was either you get your shit together or you're going to prison, and I'd like to think I got some of my shit together. Where was I? Okay, so that final moment that I used, I was in a rehab, Mirror Lake, shout out. And, yeah, woo! I got caught smoking weed, right? And here comes the dude, and I remember the director of the program, he said, give me one reason not to kick you out. And I was like, that first time I had been honest with myself in my whole life, I was like, I can't. And it's something just so minute and small, but it was so huge to me to not lie and just, because I could have told him anything. I didn't have kids at the time. I could be like, I got kids, I got my baby daddy, I got a sport, this, that. But I didn't. And shockingly, they let me stay. And I thank God for that. But I had to get high one more time just to be sure I was powerless. And I did, and it was a terrible high. I just itched my body all night and twacked out, and it was really bad. But that morning I didn't sleep. Who am I kidding? I remember I was journaling, and I say the 22nd is my sober day because I didn't use that day. I was high that day, but I did not pick up that day. And I was journaling, and I was just talking to God, man. I was like, there's this God I grew up with. I don't know if I'm going to hell or not, but let me just tell you what's going on in my life. And it just started coming and coming and coming, and I was like, I got to quit this. All my friends have died. Like, I got to. And I got out. I went to a step ahead. Yeah, if you know. And I had a sponsor at that time that I wasn't calling, and I actually opened up to this woman because, whenever you're the street life, the thug life, the no snitch life, we're taught that women, they steal your men, they steal your clothes, and they try to do your drugs for free. Like, fuck out of here. So this woman, though, little by slow, but I started calling her pretty regularly, and we got in this book, and I started reading it, and I was shocked I could read and, understand half of it. And I remember she'd be like, you know what that means, you're smart. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm, Googling, what the fuck does this mean? But I got honest with this woman. And I remember we were about to do my 5th step together because I had a sponsor in that 4-year run or whatever, and she told all my shit. So I was like, here we go. And that was one of the biggest things in early recovery, because it's if I continue keeping this inside, I'm going to die. It just is what it is. And if she does tell someone else, hopefully it's to help another woman in this situation. And I did. I still held some back, though. And but then we got to step 7. Step 7 is a motherfucker. But we got to step 8 and 9. And whenever I was reading, because I saved that list, I finally cried about all the wrong I done. I finally have been sober a while, and I felt the remorse, and it was a lot. It was a lot, because I got sober this time at 22, so I got sober pretty young, but I've been actively using since I was about 15 years old, so I had a fair run. My life had just begun, and it was already in the freaking trash can on fire in the flames. It was just rough. But, So, yeah, I got honest with that woman, and stuff happened, and it was time that I got a different sponsor, and I'm very grateful for that because, she gave me everything she had, and I wanted more, and, so I didn't let my life in. I had a mature talk with her, cried pretty hard, had some spicy armpits going on. I was like, and she came to the meeting. She's like, I think you need a sponsor. I was like, thank God she said it. And there was this one woman I met at a meeting in Nashville, and something she said stuck with me. And I was like, if I didn't have my sponsor, I'd want her. So I went to a meeting every single day for a whole week trying to find this woman, like the meeting I saw her at. And finally I gave up, and I called my friend, and I was like, I need her number. Like, I've been trying to do this the natural way. And, I called her, and I was like, will you be my sponsor? She said no. And the reason she said no is because she never says yes at first. She said, I'm not for everyone. We're going to talk, and we're going to see how this works. And it's worked thus far. She brought me through the steps, the traditions, the concepts. If you've worked the concepts, God bless you. And there's something different about, like, reading. So, like, Bill's story, this creepy old man, white man, all about this shit. I found common interest with him. We are so much alike, it is stupid. Like, how am I relatable? This man's completely different than me. But the commons were there. And it was really different because every time we read a chapter or something, she'd be like, this is how I relate to it. How do you relate to it? And it was kind of beautiful because it's like, I don't have to just nod my head and be scared that I'm going back to prison this time. Like, I actually want this. And it was pretty different. Anyways, so since getting sober, life has been lifing, man. I've lost a lot of friends sober, and there was this old man who used to go to meetings, and he'd say, there's 2 things you need to buy. That's a big book and a black dress, because you're going to be getting sober and going to a lot of funerals. And he was not lying. So, since getting sober, all that happened, found the love of my life. I'm a wife now. Yeah, he turned this whore into a housewife. Yeah, this program did too, though. Yeah. I met a husband. I was in a sober living. I went to a different sober living, and that was really hard. I had a job I fucking hated it, but I stuck through because I had to pay the bills. Like, I couldn't just quit on a whim anymore. I became an adult. I had to put 2 weeks notices in, all this stuff that just never occurred to me. Like, if I worked anywhere at all, I'd work there for a day and I'm out, bitches. So I got a job. I was a worker amongst workers, all that good stuff. Okay, so I lost my mom a little, about 2 years ago, about a year and a half. It's almost 2, but that is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do sober. But I got to show up and be a daughter. Because she couldn't come live with me, and it was just really sad because I wanted her to. But anyway, she was in a nursing home, and I had to help take care of her. And having to bathe the woman who bathed me, it takes a toll on you. It really does, but I didn't have to use over it, and that was the beauty. I mean, I was an angry bitch, but I reached out to women who had gone through the same thing, and they lifted me up. My grand sponsor, I love that woman. She came with me. I have a foot phobia, so she painted my mom's toes for me because we wanted her to feel pretty, because, yeah, she's on her deathbed. Let's paint her toes. Anyways, but she came, and, they helped me coordinate with hospice and get all the information, and then I got the phone call one night, and it was whatever. I need to work it out, but they're like, yeah, your mom's dead on the phone. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So I'm fucking crazy, and that woman met me there. She was there waiting on me to come and say goodbye to my mom, and yeah, that's something that'll haunt you, but she was there for me, you know. She was there for me, waiting on me. She held my husband as he cried. I went and picked my sister up, you know, and my sober sister, my Swansea sister at the time, she met me there. It was just, I was surrounded by so much love when that happened. And I'm very thankful. And I wouldn't have had that without this. Then I got married. And that was another emotional day. But, you know, some of the women in this meeting were there for me and helped me feel loved. And, you know, my nephew walked me down the aisle. And my grand sponsor did as well. I had one on each arm. And then 10 days later, I found out I was knocked up. Yeah. I didn't wait till marriage. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, just boom, boom, boom. And I was about 8 weeks pregnant. And so my biggest character defect is this thing right here. And, you know, I said, I had threatened a coworker. And, I mean, it's not like I really would have hit her. You know, I was pregnant. But back the fuck up, bitch. And so they decided at that point I wasn't good for it. I was an HR liability, so they had to let me go. And Tennessee is a no-cost state, so I couldn't sue them, even though I was pregnant. So I went to another job, got fired because of my mouth again, and for 2 solid months, I was unemployable. And, you know, thank God for my husband supporting us, but I had to do a lot of working on me, because, I mean, I was sober, but I wasn't living sober. I was mean. I was very abrasive to people. I was the type of person I would never want my daughter to see. And so I had to really work on myself, and I did. At this job I have now, I've only got into it one time, and if you know me, that's very, very good. Like my first day there, I accidentally spilled an iced tea on one of the managers, and she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I was like, "Bro," I was like, "I'm sorry," because, you know, I needed a job and I had to work on me. And even through being pregnant, it boiled down to like, yeah, my hormones are freaking crazy, but do I want to be a good mom? Is how I looked at it. Do I want to be a good person, or do I want to be that piece of shit who's miserable? You know, if I'm miserable and a piece of shit, why did I get sober? And so I did a lot of changing. And anyways, I have the baby. And it was a really rough pregnancy. Yeah, it wasn't rough. It was a rough delivery and all that. And I got to hold her for like 2 hours, and she got took to the NICU. And I wasn't able to hold her for 2 days. Let me tell you, that phone was fucking busy. I was ringing everybody up. And my sponsor, she's like, this is step 1 through 3. You know, we can quote these steps, but when we live them, we live them. And those steps 1 through 3 saved my life. You know, I can't. Clearly I can't. I'm powerless in this situation. I think he can, maybe. I think I'm going to let him. And I'm actually going to let him. And I never cussed one of the nurses out, no matter how bad I wanted to. But, you know, because they were there. They were giving her the best care possible. And it was just so hard. You know, she got transported, a lot of shit that was very, very scary. And I remember talking to God. I was like, if you take her, I'm done. I'm done. And that's the rawness of it. Because what the fuck was all this changing and everything worth if I don't even get to be a mom? But, you know, 17 days later, she got to come home. And she's healthy as a bee right now. She's trying to crawl right now. She's 6 months old, and she's just the light of my world. And it sucks sometimes because I really, really want to call my mom. But the women in here are helping me become a mom and raise her. When I don't know what to do, I can call someone and be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is she making this face? Like, there's so many questions that I just don't know. But these rooms gave me relationships with the women. And what is it? The men will chase my ass and the women will save it. That's true. Okay. And I'm going to do a spout off of the steps. I'd like to focus on more of what it's like, because That's the good shit, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to be reading step 1 out of the 12 and 12, page 24. And this, anybody got a tissue? My nose is gnarly. Yeah. I would pick him if it was the good old days. Nothing went to waste. Woo. Okay. It says, why all this insistence that every AA must hit bottom first? The answer is that few people will sincerely try to practice the AA program unless they have hit bottom. For practicing CAs, remaining 11 steps means the adoption of attitudes and actions that almost no alcoholic who's still drinking can dream of taking. Who wishes to be rigorously honest and tolerant? Not I. Who wants to confess his faults to another and make restitution for harm done? It was that bitch's fault. Who cares anything about a higher power, let alone meditation and prayer? I'm not no hippie. Who wants to sacrifice time and energy into carrying A's message to the next sufferer? Help people? What? Yeah. No, the average alcoholic, self-centered in the extreme, doesn't care for this prospect unless he has to do these things in order to stay alive himself. Under the lash of alcoholism, we are driven to AA, and there we discover the fatal nature of our situation. Then and only then do we become as open-minded to conviction as well as willing to listen as the dying can be. We stand ready to do anything which will lift the merciless obsession for us, and that's true. Those things, they're a bitch. But, you got to get through the ugly to get to the pretty is what I was taught. And the ugly is ugly. It's hideous. So step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, our lives had become unmanageable. That's a 2-parter. I didn't get that, so I already told y'all how I felt powerless. But the unmanageability I couldn't grasp. I was like, my life is in flames. I'm functioning just fine, That's not normal. It's not. And I would thrive in chaos for years. I mean, I came into sober living starting drama just to get in a fist fight. And I can't fight. I can't. I got my ass beat so many times. I got 5 staples put in this head. I cannot fight, but damn it, I'll go because I ain't no bitch. That's just, y'all get it, but to the normal person, they're like, just let it go. So that unmanageability, it took a long time to simmer down, but step 1's the only step you can do 1,000% right, and I truly believe that, and that's knowing that I can't do this. Oh, okay. I should know I'm nervous, so I don't have these steps by heart right now. Oh, here we are. Here we are. Oh. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So obviously, I'm insane. And that's just kind of I think I'm going to let him do it, because what do? I wind up in jail, and I wind up in rehab, and I wind up in a trap house being violated. That was Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. So my first sponsor, whenever we sat down to the steps, she's like, I don't give a fuck what's running your life. It could be, Buddha, Chicky, John, all this. I don't care. As long as you're not running the show. And that's power. That's powerful. It doesn't have to be anything right now. We're not here for religion or to find God, but obviously I can't do it. Even if it's just the power of a group, I can't run my show. I'll run the shit by someone else. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Yeah, there's a lot of inventories to take. But this latest time, I just did resentments, fears, and a sex inventory. And they were pretty lengthy because I still had some resentments to get through. And but my first sponsor, whenever we did step 5 and we admitted it, she said, the rest of your life, it's trying how to get this list shorter and shorter and shorter, not as big as this, because I have to be a decent human being. Step 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact true nature of our wrongs. So I had to trust another woman. Yeah, I did it. It's not as scary as it seems, I promise. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Not me, I'm perfect. It was everybody else's fault. I'm the star of the show. I had to work on that for a while. And each week, my sponsor this time, she gave me a list of character defects, and they were in depth. And beside every character defect was how it could be turned around into something betterness. Like, so say, lustful, faithful, And I went to her, and, we found some that were running my life in numero uno, this mouth. But when I left her house, she gave me some assets I had to. And so I didn't feel like shit as bad as I did. She's like, you're actually kind of a good person, you're not that bad. But I was also taught that some of these defects can be assets as the defect. Like, my selfishness keeps me sober, because I ain't going to be no damn newcomer again. See, that's a defect, but it can be used as an asset in my life. Little stuff like that, which was really cool to find out. Step 7, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. I will never say it as perfect as Jason says it, but it's pretty much so. I work in the hospital industry, and shortcomings are pretty much, they're like what I ought to do versus, so sometimes I drop a fork in the trash can, and it'll haunt me until I go back and pick up that fork out of the trash can. Just stuff that it's not that, I have to do it, but I ought to do it, so I should do it. Having God remove me from leaving the fork in the trash can. It's something simple like that, but it's harder with other stuff. 8, made a list of all persons who had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. So I've done this 2 ways. I've done it with my step 4 list, and I've also done it where the people that I didn't, so we did it in 3 sections of the people I resented, the people I had wronged, and the people I had affairs with. And so there was 2 really big ones I had to do. And so while I was sober, I was a house manager at a step ahead, and I was in charge of the money. And I didn't pay rent for 3 months, and I fixed the books to make it look like I did. That's stealing. So I met the woman who owns that house. I asked her for coffee one day, and she was like, what the fuck? She's like, okay. And we get there, and she keeps trying to buy my coffee, and I'm like, I need to buy your coffee. And, we sat down, I prayed to God, because, I had it all written out. I was going to say it, and I was like, hey, Jesus, take the wheel. We got to do this. And it was very nerve-wracking. This heart went out my mouth, out my vagina about 5 times, just up and down, pulsating, she's going to call the cops. And none of that happened. I was like, there's no proper way to say this, but I robbed you. Is there anything I can do to make it right? And she was just shocked. She's like, I've been doing this for about, 10 years or something. And she's like, and nobody has ever made amends to me. She said, I didn't even know you had robbed me. And she's like, and the people that she's like, never. So the money, she asked me to put in an AA basket. She's like, I don't know what has given you this courage and this new person, but give the money to them. And it's beautiful. It's always going to go 1 or 2 ways. Either they're going to say you're forgiven or you're fucked. Get lost. And so, because there's a lot of women here. Also, while being sober, I can't blame this on drugs. I had an affair with a married man, and his wife knew about it, and it was really ugly. That's why they say to wait till you're sober to get in relationships, because my picker is broke. But I messaged his wife. I was like, hey, you want to get lunch? And she said, get fucked. So, I tried, and it didn't go. I would probably say get fucked too. I didn't want to make that amend, but my sponsor said I had to, and I don't trust myself today. Anyways, Step 9, made direct amends to all those persons we harmed, except when it do so would injure them or others. So the woman, the reason that we decided that she needed an amend is because she was knowledgeable about it. It wouldn't be hurting her to get I was a piece of shit. Is there anything I can do to make it right? And, there was a lot of amends I thought I should have made, but they would just cause harm because a lot of people didn't know that I had robbed them and done all this stuff. So I'm not going to go out like that. Step 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So this is kind of like a spot check step, I guess you could say. Whenever I'm wrong, I apologize, and I don't really like to apologize that much, but this happened to me just the other day. I got into it with the manager and told her to learn how to do her fucking job. Because I'm in the anyways, I was bartending and she couldn't help me make drinks, and like I was covered the whole restaurant and my whole section was full, and I was like, but she went home and I was able to say, hey, I'm sorry. There was no excuse for that behavior. Is there anything I can do to make it right? And guess what? She said, it's all good. And I didn't get yelled at or nothing. But I still shouldn't have acted. It's no excuse. But when I'm wrong, I have to admit it today. I'm still human. I'm still learning this. Step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. That's a doozy. So we're going to start with meditation. I thought I had to be, a hippie, doing yoga, woo, all that. And meditation is, I've learned, it's just anything I can do to clear my mind before I come to God. Just getting this mind to shut the fuck up because it was running for years. And, for me, it's music, just on my way to work, crying my eyes out and just getting that mind clear before I come to Him. It's that simple. It was, sometimes it's exercise for people. It can be anything. Anything that can get my mind quiet, I consider meditation. And to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. So having a relationship with this man that was sending me to hell all my life is kind of scary, man. But, there's a list that was made of what God is and what God isn't, and that is one of the beauties in this program. And, my God is loving. He's gracious today. He helps me. He is the stars and all. He's everything. And little by slow, more and more of my God gets revealed to me every day in the little things, in ways I don't even expect. Like I was trying to throw a cigarette out the window yesterday, and something was like, don't do that. That's wrong. I was like, okay, God. And this program has taught me there's no such thing as coincidences. And if it's weird or a coincidence, it's God, 9 times out of 10. If you believe in God. You can be an atheist and be sober too, though, just saying. I've met many. Praying only knowledge for His will for us and the power to carry that out. What? Gimme, God. All these foxhole prayers, I promise if you let me out of jail this time, I will not suck the bomb man's dick. Let's just keep, it's CA, all inclusive. Let's just keep it honest. Stuff like that, that's not praying. One of the things that was taught to me is God doesn't make deals. He doesn't. But, I thought He was because He let me out and I didn't suck Him off, so. Oh my God, you sold sex? Oh God, this is being recorded. Don't tell your mama. So today my prayers are a little bit different. They're y'all taught me how to pray. But y'all really did. It's coming after I do that meditation and get my mind quiet. And I do pray for myself, and that's because I was taught, how can I be of service to others if I'm not right with God? And I used to be like, I don't know. So I pray for myself. I pray, and y'all can take this however you want, and I'm not trying to be perverted, but I ask for God to circumcise my heart, which means to remove the excess, which is the worldliness, the flesh, the nastiness that I carried all these years, so that I can be of service to another one of God's children. And it doesn't always work that way. But when it does, it's beautiful. And if if I'm really trying to work on myself, I'll be like, God, anything that breaks my heart, anything that breaks your heart that I do, may it break mine. And if you want to change, that's the prayer. It's painful, but I pray for others today. I don't pray to get out of situations, and it's a wonderful relationship that I have with my Creator today. And also at night, there's this thing called an 11-step review, and I haven't been doing it. That's my honesty, but it's in depth. It is super in depth, and I just finished a non-AA approved literature book that I did in a study, and they asked to include one of my personal character defects in it. Like, am I overspending money because I feel uncomfortable in my skin or because something happened? What did I buy that was unnecessary? What did my mouth run about somebody behind their back? Like, stuff like that. And it helps, but it's really in depth. Okay, step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and to have to practice these principles in all of our affairs. That's just not in the rooms. It's out in public too. It's out in every situation. So the spiritual awakening, for me, there was many throughout working these steps, but this is the one. Like, I've done all of these steps. I have a new life. I get to practice these. It was like, I'm one with one. I'm a worker amongst workers. Like, I am one with all of you. We all have a piece of God in us. And we try to carry this message to addicts. I didn't like sharing in meetings for a long time. I still don't like to, but I'm doing the 12-step work because I have a problem. I'm like, God, this meeting fucking sucks. But what can I bring to this meeting? If it gets off topic, how can I turn it around? What experience do I have with this? How can I help these people? And sometimes it's just shutting up, though, and listening to the good stuff, because I got to worry about me as well. But helping other alcoholics is sharing in meetings, and it's working with women that you want to pull your hair out over. Just like I'm sure my sponsors wanted to pull their hair out with me. And to practice these principles in all our affairs, for me, this is the program. The program is the steps. What am I doing in my life to serve the next alcoholic? What am I doing in my life to improve that relationship with God? What am I doing in my life to be of service to my family? All these things are important, and it all boils down and comes to tradition one. What is the best thing for the group? What is the best thing for everybody all around? Because it's not all about me anymore. This life is beautiful, and I'm still selfish. Like, that's just the truth. But I'm not as selfish as I was. I care about other people, and this life has been crazy. It's beautiful, but I never once had to pick up over it. I wanted to. I wanted to, but I didn't, and that's what matters. I showed up to these meetings angry, pissed off, and y'all still loved me. Like, I don't deserve y'all's love. But y'all taught me how to be a friend, how to be a lady, not to, like, I'm in a dress today. What the fuck? My booty ain't hanging out. But y'all taught me how to be a woman, a lady, have some dignity. This mouth, it's probably going to be the last thing to go. But I will improve with time. I feel convicted now. Shout out, homie, upstairs, Sky Daddy. But, we got 2 minutes left. I love you all so much, and thank you.